will stand with me for the invocation and the pledge of allegiance. Mr. Moore.
Please bow your heads with me. Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for all the blessings you have bestowed upon us. Father, we ask that you be with us, guide us, and direct us as we go through this meeting. Do Lord, we pray that you forgive us for our sins. In your Son's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I want to welcome everybody to the September 25th meeting, Madison County Commission. Roll call, Commissioner Davis, Martin, Moore, and Walter for present. Commissioner Kelly is out at a conference. Everybody's looked at the agenda. I think we have one amendment.
Yeah, I want to add, one thing on the new business, discussion with possible action on requesting a county manager report from the county manager.
Okay. And that is number 6. Any more discussion?
Motion to approve.
Second. Motion by Commissioner Martin, second by Commissioner Moore. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? This time we have petitions from the public. We have Ms. Phyllis Williams. Phyllis, will you come forward?
All right, thank y'all for letting me speak. And I'm here just to promote our banquet, our annual Chamber of Commerce banquet and silent auction, Thursday, October 3rd. And we still have tickets for sale, and we're trying to fill that table up with you guys. So I would encourage everybody to go. It's gonna be really exciting, and this year we have the awards that we're giving out for large business, small business, young professional, and the other is the customer service award. So that can be an individual or a business. So we're really excited. We've got really good feedback on our social media, and people are really reacting favorably to the survey, voting for this. So if you haven't voted yet, go to our website and go into the Survey Monkey, into the survey, and vote for your favorites in each of those categories. But let me know, hopefully by Friday, whether or not you will. Some of you have already signed up, and I appreciate that, but we want to fill that commissioner table up. And this goes for the public too. Anybody who wants to go and buy a ticket, feel free. Just contact our office. I'm going to leave this over there on the table, so you can come
You might
up.
want to tell what the theme is for this year.
The theme is honoring our heroes, and we have, the speaker is going to be Major John Haynes, and he was inducted into the Veterans Hall of Fame. He is responsible for Dale Leslie and for Bernard Wilson being inducted into the Hall of Fame, the Veterans Hall of Fame. So he's an amazing man. I've met with him, and he's going to be a good speaker. He's great. The tickets for members is $35 each. For non-members, it's $45 each. A table of 8 is $250 for members, $350 for non-members. But just try to join us. It's going to be wonderful. Good food is going to be catered by Covington's out of Valdosta. Any questions?
I like the RSVP.
Okay, gotcha. 2, you would want it?
Yes.
All right, good. You've already RSVP'd. And you have,
Yeah, I was going, it's just me.
okay.
I'll let you know.
Okay. Really?
We might want to get together, the table's a lot cheaper.
They are. We've already reserved a commissioner table.
We'll fill it up. Thank you.
Thank
Phyllis.
y'all.
Thank you very much. That's all of our petitions from the public. All of you looked over the minutes for the last meetings. Any amendments or adjustments to those minutes?
Motion to approve.
Motion made by Commissioner Martin to approve.
Second.
Commissioner Davis, second. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Constitutional officers report. Doesn't look like we have any. Moving along, consent agenda.
Mr. Chair, on one thing before you make the motion, on the consent item number 3, the resolution that authorizes the use of the gas tax money for the landfill closures. I'm the one that typed this resolution up, and I made a mistake that was pointed out to me by the county attorney on paragraph 2. There is a 2018-19 date that's in there twice. The first one of those should be 2019-2020, and the second one would say 2018-2019, if that makes sense to everybody. Basically, what this does is allows you to use money that you have saved during the prior year, up to $150,000 of that into next year, in this year coming out. So it's a confusing statute, and I just confused it more about it.
Any more discussion on consent agenda item?
Motion to approve, Mr.
Second.
Chair, with the corrections for item 3 as stated.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Moore, second by Commissioner Walker. All in favor? All opposed? All right. We're going to,
Mr. Chair, if I could,
Yes.
this is just an ongoing resolution that we're gonna have to do every year. Number 3.
Yes, that's it. We got an ongoing expense, is landfill closure. The way we've handled that traditionally is we've moved $150,000 out of the gas tax money into that fund. There's a special statute that allows you to do that for certain infrastructure purposes. And that's what the board's chosen to do for the last, I don't even recall how long, it's been a long while. And so we have to enact a resolution this year to allow us to spend that money next fiscal year.
Right.
So this is our last opportunity. But yes, that, I believe that's been the instructions of the board in the past, is to go ahead and budget it that way, in anticipation of moving that 150.
any more discussion? Moving along, we're going to step past Public Works just a second. Ms. Lonnie, we're gonna go to new business. We have the item number 1. Ms. Renee, if you would come forward. This is our public hearing for the ordinance for the planning and zoning.
Good evening.
Good evening.
In your packets is the ordinance that was typed up. We brought it before the board at a previous meeting where the recommendations were made by the planning and zoning board to make changes to the ordinance that governed the board. The changes that were made included adding to change the quorum from four members to 3. We also changed the setup of our actual board to include just 9 members as opposed to the 7. And we added in section 4 of the ordinance, the attendance section from our bylaws. So that was sent over to Tommy to review for me, and it was advertised, and we just wanted to see if you can amend the current ordinance.
Is that, Mr. Chairman, should open it up for public comment, this is public hearing. Once you completed public comment, you close that and bring it back to the board for action.
Okay, we'll do that. Any public comment from the audience? Yes, Ms. Bobby, come forward.
Sorry, I hadn't planned to talk to you. I've been going to the planning and zoning meetings and watching them work through how they work and the things they're doing, and I'm really appreciating what Renee is doing for them. I have a real concern about reducing the quorum to 3, expanding the number of members to 9, and reducing the quorum to 3. I think that leaves a lot of room for future problems, so I ask you to consider not approving that.
Any more? Yes, we'll open up for discussion from the board members now.
Mr. Chair, if I may, I was actually I've talked to some folks about this. I know when we went, directed staff to amend the ordinance, that was one of the things we talked about doing, but since then, I do agree that increasing our board members to 9 and then reducing the quorum, doesn't really seem fit or right, I would recommend that did you say that it used to be the quorum was 4? I thought it was an odd number.
It was 4.
It was 4?
Yes, sir.
Well, either staying with a 4-member quorum or going to the odd number of 5. Having said that, I do have some concern that, as you know, we try to fast pace as much as we can the business people who are trying to go through our requirements that we have to go through, and it's vetted out through the planning and zoning before it comes to us. If there's no quorum, whenever that business or that item comes to the planning and zoning, if we set it at 5, and that's what I'm gonna probably recommend, but if we set it at 5 and there's no quorum, I don't want to hold that entity up. You see what I'm saying? To have to wait another 30 days and come back to the planning and zoning to be heard again. I would say that I would recommend that if we do increase the quorum number to a higher number, that if there's not a quorum when the item is agenda to be vetted out, then it would just go right straight to the commission. If that makes any sense.
Well, it does, and the problem with 4, what if you get a tie vote?
You get a tie vote.
So I would suggest 5 also. We increase the quorum to 5.
And there is some avenues in here that if the members that are appointed don't attend and they miss so many meetings, then they can be, vetted and replaced and put active members on there. And that's what we want. These are volunteer positions, and I appreciate everything that they do to serve, but, we appreciate that service by being there and attending meetings.
Commissioner, I echo that thought as well. And 3 does appear to be a small number. We'll go to 9. That's just my feelings.
I think you have a question.
You got a hand up there.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, I'm Mike Holton, I'm the vice chair of the planning and zoning. And the reason for 3 is that sometimes we have problems getting a quorum. And sometimes we, even with a quorum, we have trouble, and so we reduce it to 3 so we can at least have a meeting. And then we can refer to you guys if anything else, So we reduced it to 3 because of that. Because it is a volunteer thing, and there's a lot of people just don't have the ability to make the meeting for some reason.
Well, are the meetings held about the same time each month?
Yes, sir.
First Thursday of each month at 5.
That's correct. And we try to do it to correlate with the county commissioners meeting, because if something needs to be expedited, it's easier to do it that way, so it can come straight to you guys for vote.
Doc, do you have something?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, if I could ask, Mike, wasn't the other reason was because you had 7, but there were some alternates?
They were alternates, right, and we
And I
moved the
think-
alternates up.
I think during that last discussion, we were talking about, well, we just take the alternates and make them members.
Right.
And then go with it that way. I think that was part of the discussion last.
And that's what this
time.
does, that does away with alternates, and actually creates a 9-member
Right.
board.
See, we had alternates before. I was an alternate when I first started. It took me a couple of years to become a member. And then as you being an alternate, that gives you time to kind of learn the procedures and learn what's going on with planning and zoning. Because the book is quite in-depth, and it takes a lot of time to kind of catch on what's really happening before you kind of understand what the deal is.
Yes, sir.
I think the quorum is on section 8, it's the last sentence of section 8, it says 3 members of the planning board should constitute a quorum, so y'all can certainly change that to 5 or any other number you want. If you're wanting though to say, well, if you don't have a quorum, we're gonna bypass the planning and zoning board, come back, now, you'd have to do that with separate ordinance, and we'd have to, you could, of course, instruct us to start working on that. I think all you can do today is.
And the only reason I said that is I just hate that, I know we work hard on trying to make and streamline our process as possible, but I think that would open up a problem that if we don't have a quorum of 5, then it's going to extend prolong the process, and I don't want to do that either. But, if you feel like 4s are good, there is a potential for a deadlock.
Well, if there's a deadlock, does it come to the board then? Will it have to come to the board then?
You and for most circumstances, there has to be a recommendation. And for a deadlock would be no action generally. What I would advise the board to do though is, if you've got a deadlock, is somebody go ahead and just vote no, make it a, and then you've at least got a recommendation that come to the board. This board isn't bound by that recommendation anyway, so there's really no good reason to leave it deadlocked for that board.
Well, I haven't heard that, I can live with 4. And if we have to use that process you described to break the tie, we can go ahead and do it.
We're open for motions.
I move motion that we approve it, Mr. Chair, approve the ordinance as written.
With the change to 4?
Where 4 is in it.
No, it's
No,
three.
it's three. And it's the last sentence on section 8, page 2.
Change it from 3 to 4.
Well, I'm on section 2. Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
4 is at large.
So the quorum's on the last sentence of section 8, it says 3 members of the planning board shall constitute a quorum.
So that should be 4.
Is that your motion?
Your
Yes.
motion will be approve it, change it to 4.
That's correct.
That's quorum. We have a motion on the floor to accept with change to 4 for the quorum number.
I'll second.
Motion made by Commissioner Moore, seconded by Commissioner Davis. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passes 4-0.
Would y'all like us to look at doing an ordinance that says if they don't have quorum, they'll bypass and come on to the county commission?
Well, I would think, I would hope that, and I'll personally, Mr. Chair, that if there is for some reason a deadlock, like your suggestion would be is as well, then it would just come to the board as a non-recommendation than a recommendation.
Right, but in cases where the.
Somebody would have to change the vote, of course.
So what's happened in the past is they just ain't a quorum.
Yeah.
And so, and then there can't be any action, right or wrong. And so you know, what we could do is we could look at changing the ordinance to say that if there's no quorum, that it goes ahead and proceeds to the board of county commissioners, if y'all want to do that.
I think we might need to, because that'll prevent the delay that Commissioner Davis was talking about. And if you're gonna streamline the process, that would help.
Can I add one thing?
Sure.
Just as somebody's been on the other side with the developer, I would suggest though that if you were gonna do that, instead of having it come to you guys with absolutely no recommendation, at least have a letter from Renee saying that here's the things that it meets, not her opinion on whether or not it's a good idea or not, but whether or not it meets the land development regulations. That way y'all do have something to go by rather than just a.
Yeah, I hate for it to bypass this or valuable purpose.
I'm very concerned about it bypassing P and Z.
Yeah.
And maybe you want to wait and see. I mean, you know,
That's what I want to cross that bridge when we get there.
Mr. Chair,
That's Mike.
I have a suggestion. So if we have a meeting and we have a tie, then we have to, then at the next meeting, we must have 5 members to make a quorum so that we can vote, and then it would not be a tie vote. We got a meeting this month, and we tie up, so to the next month, we gotta have 5 members, and then when we get 5 members, then it won't be a tie vote.
What we're trying to do is circumvent having to wait a whole month.
I understand.
Before it comes back around. Yes, Renee?
In the past, if we did not have a quorum, a special meeting was scheduled for the planning and zoning board to allow board members to be able to attend. So
That's-
we
we wouldn't wait a
can go
month.
back to that to make a
Special
special meeting
meeting.
so that we're
Okay.
not.
And that's a minimum of 10 days, is that right?
It depends on the action. We haven't passed the amendments yet, so it's 10 or 15 depending on the application.
That's what we're working to change to make.
Right, that's the next
That's
one.
fine.
It's 15 right now.
15 for special exception and
Sure.
temp use permit, so it's 15 days.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll work.
Okay. Sounds good. All right, we're going to move back up. We're gonna move back up to, get back in line. We have no unfinished business. Public Works, Mr. Lonnie?
The motion, we didn't
vote?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, we know. Vote.
4-0. Okay.
For some reason, it is existence.
You say.
I remember the motion is there.
Yeah.
That was our discussion.
Sometime back, the board voted to allow Payne Popple Surveying to do a maintenance map on Morgan Road. We have those things still completed. We went down and checked everything, it seems to be in order.
Do we, yes,
And, of course, this is a maintenance map. The maintenance map is a special statutory procedure in chapter 95.361. What a maintenance map does is, the maintenance map creates a presumption that, the real property, the road bed, and the park of the county is maintained in excess of 7 years. It creates a presumption that that property has vested in the county. Under Florida law, if the county, constructs and maintains a road in excess of 4 years, and nobody's objecting, and that property vests in the county. And of course, there's no deed, there's nothing in the public records saying that, and so the way you put something in the public records is the board approves a maintenance map, and then that maintenance map goes on file with the clerk's office. It's signed by the chair and the clerk. And so, what, the board, is allowed to do is approve the maintenance map, and with the maintenance map, I think Lonnie is representing that he's reviewed it, and that the maintenance map accurately shows what the county's maintained in excess of 7 years.
as long as this is on Frank Morgan Road, you got to put it will it be a separate?
You can do that separate, so the minutes show that for yourself.
I motion that we approve Frank Morgan first.
Motion by Commissioner Morgan, second by Commissioner Davis. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? 4-0.
And we also, you guys voted to have, Briggs, Washington, and Thompson to do a maintenance map on Oak Hill Road. And we have those prepared and ready for signature as well.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Moore, second by Commissioner Martin.
Same thing applies.
Same thing applies. The only thing I did say is, of course, Lonnie's, been of the road department work these roads well in excess of 7 years, so he can say, get representative of his own personal knowledge. All that, is that accurate?
Yes.
Any discussion?
This is one that, Scrap or Scott?
This is
Scrap.
crap,
Scrap.
there's some near, I can't remember where it's quiz.
Okay.
And what is the project? Wow. Okay.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? 4-0.
And this should take care of the problem we have on Frank Morgan, on the end when the guy don't want us to grade it.
Yes, sir, I think we can, just tell him, we've got the maintenance map and it's ours, and
Okay.
if he has a complaint, we're gonna check it out, but
Okay.
he has to have a valid complaint.
Right. Okay.
I think it'll help a lot.
Okay. Thank you.
That's it. Thank you, Mr. Lonnie.
Thank you.
Moving to number 2 on the new business's request for approval of E911 state grant application. This is a continuation grant that we applied for some outdated electrical and radio communications. And Mr. Harper.
Yes, sir. Commissioners, thank you for your time. So the Sheriff's Office is seeking support from the board in applying, making this application for the E911 Rural County grant. This is, like you said, it's reoccurring grants, 100% reimbursement, so there will be no matching funds required from the board. The purpose of this grant is it provides funds to basically to operate and support our 911 system. That's our hardware, our software, and the software support. Now on our hardware, which is our servers and our workstations, they come with a 5-year manufacturer's warranty. That's for a failure, a hardware failure, and support of that hardware. Our equipment is purchased in 2012. We were still in the jail then, communications was set up there, and then when we moved to the new center in 2014, equipment was still working fine, still warranty, so we just transferred that equipment. So since 2017, we've been out of warranty on our hardware. What we would be seeking is $130,000 $2,754.62. Now, back whenever we started our budget, process, we did budget $123,000 and fund 52, our E911 fund. When awarded, and I expect we would be awarded this, we would have to come back with a budget amendment on the small difference. However, if for some reason this grant, we are not, the small rural county grant, if we're not awarded it, we would in December reapply through a statewide grant for the same thing, to address, our hardware that we currently have in the communication system.
I understand this has to be done, October 1, I think is when the
Yes.
grant has to be.
It's, and we require the signature of the grant requires the signature of the board chair. Yes.
And just to let y'all know on that, the budget amendment request, that would be an amendment that increases the revenue and increases the expenditure,
Correct.
just to be whatever the grant award is. So it's not like they're requesting extra dollars or anything like that. It's just
Correct.
gonna increase both of those line items.
Yes, so this would be 100%.
Need a motion to approve the application, Mr. Chairman.
Motion made by Commissioner Davis,
Second.
second by Commissioner Moore. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? 4 ayes.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, sir. Moving along, we have, next, Beth.
Right. Thank you for letting me, come and just fill you in on what's been going on at 4-H. I'll just have them pass them out. Sounds good. First of all, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to serve, Madison County and our kids of Madison County. Those of you that know me know that I am passionate about kids, and 4-H has been just, a great change for me, and I appreciate that opportunity y'all have given me. First of all, I want to let you know that right now, or last year, these are last year's statistics, we had 115 in a community club membership, 42 overnight campers at Cherry Lake. We had 4 day camps, and we had served 53 youth, and I did want to mention that Michael Raines came and did first aid and CPR all day, all morning, one day, and it was wonderful. So I appreciate y'all allowing him to do that. We had 162 participants in special interest and short-term programs. We served 1,243 students in Ecology Day, which is for all 3rd graders in the county. Tropicana Public Speaking, which is 4th through 8th grade throughout the county. Embryology projects in the classroom. I also go once a month to each school, to the Boys and Girls Club, to provide enrichment activities with them as well, and to after-school care at the academy. So the total youth served, you see right there, that's a lot of kids. And that we're trying to work even to have that. My goal is to have it doubled. So, the community clubs that we have, last year we started out with 2, Hickory Grove and Saddles and Spurs. We added 3 more, community club, culinary club, and livestock farm judging team. And this year, we're starting ASK, which is an in-school club, and Homesteaders Club, which is the homeschool group. And we're still working on the last 3. They haven't fully developed yet, but we're going there. So that's what we're going right now. Some of the other things that we've been doing, I took kids to 4-H Day at the Capitol. They got to meet with Senator Montford, which was we basically ran right into him. We had kids go to 4-H legislature. 4-H University, where we had one of our kids from Madison win first place in public speaking on plants. Had kids go to the Southern Regional Teen Leadership Conference in Tennessee last week. We had participants in the North Florida Livestock Show. We went to every elementary school in the county and did Arbor Day activities and planted trees there. Had students participate in archery tournaments. Had students participating in the 4-H horse show. We had our first county events in several years, and those kids went on to district events in Live Oak. That's public speaking and demonstrations and illustrated talks. We had participated in the North Florida Fair, and tomorrow night, I invite all of you at 5:30 to the Ag Center to our very first Madison County poultry show. So, there you go, we started a poultry show. So, you can come see the finest poultry in Madison County as an offer. Also, just wanted to let you know that October the 6th to the 12th is National 4-H Week, and we will, I have challenged all of our clubs to do community service projects, so be on the lookout for some kids that are serving our community. So, want to thank you, and if you have any questions, need anything, just give me a holler, and when I need volunteers, I got your numbers. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Obviously, you've been very busy.
Yeah, you've been busy.
Thank you.
Very busy.
Thank you, thank you. Next, we have a request for the support House Bill 2453 for Federal Safe Routes Act. Mr. Jerry Gray was supposed to be here to speak. He's not made it. I'm going to, everybody got the letter, and from what I understand, Brian, have you researched this anymore on this amendment to try to get the log trucks out of the secondary roads and on the interstate for the weight restrictions? Are you familiar?
Well, I did a little bit of checking on it, and log trucks can run on the interstate now, but they're held to a federal weight. And, what they're asking to do, this federal law would change and allow it to go up to whatever the state, sets. And so our state is basically, when you first look at it, you think both of them are 80,000 pounds, what we're all familiar with. But actually, the state of Florida allows log trucks to be up to 88,000 pounds because of hauling from farm to processing. And it also increases a little bit per axle weight. So basically that's what it would do, if this federal law would pass, then it would allow those trucks to haul up to 88,000 pounds on the interstate, and their axle weights would go up slightly. So
Sure. But I think what they're trying to do is to get these heavier trucks off of our secondary roads and coming through the downtown area, so they would be bypassing town.
Right, it encourages them to run the interstate versus the secondary roads, and of course, by the information that we provided, in some states, it is reduced the number of accidents and fatalities, from trucks.
I think what Mr. Gray was asking was for us to just, draft a letter, of support, for this bill, to try to help them maybe get it pushed on through. He was going to be here and give us a little more update on it, but he didn't make it tonight.
I'm okay with the letter of support. Do we need a motion for that?
Yes, sir, I think you do a motion and then you direct who to send it to, which I assume would be your congressman and your two senators.
Okay, that'll be my motion, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Moore, second by Commissioner Martin. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? 4-0.
We'll draft a letter if you like, Mr. Chairman, and send it out, and I'll give it to the chair to sign, put it out under his name.
Okay, if you would, and also we'd like to have it forwarded to Mr. Gray in
Yep.
case he needed to send it to some other
Yeah,
areas.
we'll copy everybody on it.
Good deal. The next is number 5, discussion and approval for interlocal agreement between Madison County and the Madison County School Board regarding mutual obligations and sheltering citizens during the state of declared local emergency. Ms. Lee?
Good evening, Commissioners. Just wanted to come before you tonight to discuss the interlocal agreement between Madison County and the school board for sheltering operations during an emergency. Basically, this document is our first step in developing a more cost-effective and streamlined measure to sheltering. We've been working really well with the school system since they have taken over sheltering from the Red Cross. but we wanted to establish this partnership in an official document that discusses the expectation of both parties, essentially. Some of just the highlights of it, I know you all have probably read it already, but, it implements, making documentation and school board staff available for reimbursement purposes to FEMA, and they have been really good about, doing that for us up to this point. It also implements using the ICS 214 for tracking of timesheets and staffing and those type of things. It also states in here that emergency management would provide annual training to school board staff for shelter operations and addresses specific compensation issues regarding reimbursements. Like I said, this is just the very first process, first step in the process. I know Tommy, I discussed with him earlier, he's gonna bring it up to Ms. Joseph, and should they see anything they would like to amend or add, then we can come back and we can discuss it.
If I can, I don't believe the school board staff has seen it yet. I think what might be better, rather than us approving it, would be to, if y'all have any questions or any changes, go ahead and tell us, but otherwise let us, show the staff and get them to look at it. And that way we, sometimes it seems kind of heavy-handed if we approve it and hand it.
Sure, absolutely. Absolutely.
I think the big thing, from my perspective, anytime you have these emergencies, kind of the name of the game is getting reimbursement from FEMA for all of those requirements. And so we want a good set protocol on how that's to work. And, so when we go to FEMA, we can say, well, pursuant to our agreement, the school board did X, and, they documented it this way and all of that. And that's really the big, in my opinion, it's the big thing, kind of set down everybody's expectations and what we can show to FEMA.
Do you have any discussion, any questions?
So your recommendation is to have the school board staff review it?
Yeah, my recommendation would be, let us send it to them, let them look at it, and then, we'll bring it to both the board, at the same time.
It has been sent to them, but they haven't had time
To look at it.
to really study it and take it before their board yet either.
Sounds good, so we just, no action.
There's no action, we'll bring it back.
Okay.
All right, any questions?
I appreciate the
Thank
job
you.
you're doing, Lee.
Yeah, thank you, Lee.
Want to thank you during the storm that we prepared for that was favorable to us.
Didn't get us.
We appreciate that. Number 6 was our added new business, Commissioner.
Yeah, and I put that on, what I would like to see is a spot on the agenda for a county manager's report. A lot of things, I hear about after the fact. And if we could, if Brian could maybe just give us a report. The department heads give him a report and they come to us. So I think the manager should give us a report on each agenda.
If you don't mind, what we do is we get a department head report, a monthly report, and I can submit one too in there if you
Okay.
like.
That'd be good. That's fine.
Fine.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, I think that would be good. I don't think we need to do any consent agendas just a consensus on that, or do we need to make a motion on that?
You can handle it any way you want. If you want anything specific, you might want to make a motion, that way it's very clear. But, if you want to just let Mr. Kaufman do that for a few times and see,
Okay.
then you can bring it up,
Okay.
and some other way.
That'd be fine. Okay, thank you.
That takes care of that. We're at that time. Go to the order.
Yeah, I got one thing, and I asked Brian, kind of where we at with the county fire chief. I'm hearing all kind of stuff, so,
Right now, I've talked to the city about asking if Bruce could kind of stand in for us on actual fire scenes. He kind of played that role over the years with the volunteer fire departments as it is. But this would be a little added because we do have some fire staff working for the county now. I did that because the one fellow that I did have that was qualified no longer works for us. He was actually a fire officer, and, we had an incident a couple weeks ago where he did not show up to a fire. And so we had some discussions with him and he resigned. So I really don't have anybody that has the experience that Bruce has or the education, the certifications. So I asked Bruce to stand in on fire scenes. And so that's, it's kind of like we used to, Commissioner Martin, that a lot of the volunteers, when they show up, you kind of work by rank, and they have a chief, but a lot of times on big incidences where more resources are coming in, they would look to Bruce to do that. And so that's kind of the plan now, and I'm also, reworking Chris's job description to get that out, on the street, see what we can get. I've also talked to the city a little bit about, maybe sharing Bruce full-time too, just to see if they were interested in that and trying to help, use resources. But I think I'm gonna go ahead and put it out for advertisement, see who we can get. We do have one young fellow that's supposed to start with us, in a week.
He's actually gonna be, orientating this weekend, and, he should be full-time with us, or being able to be on shift during the month of October.
Right. And he's actually fire officer certified and paramedic, and was teaching at the Chipola College. And so he's coming on with us full-time as a firefighter paramedic. And so he's also gonna help, I think he's gonna help take over the class that we were gonna do, the Fire One training class that Chris was gonna do. But so, I mean, we've got some good people coming on. I also have one guy on staff that has had 1 or 2 classes, but we just met with him the other day and encouraged him to take some classes, to where he could move up. And he's got some years of experience from Taylor County, and he's working with us. Jeremy, I think you met him, if you didn't know him already, you saw him the other day in Greenville. Real sharp fella. And, so we're building it back, but the plan is to put that back out for advertising, see what we can get.
Thank you, Frank. That's all I got.
Mr. Moore.
Well, we had a groundbreaking ceremony in Greenville this morning at 11 o'clock for the new senior citizens building that's gonna be constructed. Representative Lawson had a aide there and Senator Rubio also. So y'all missed a good event. That's all I have.
We got the Community Action Committee is having their banquet, this weekend. I think I sent y'all a text on that, so if y'all can go to that, it should be a good program. I think that's all I got. Unless y'all have any questions, any other questions for me?
Council.
No, sir, unless your question.
Mr. Clerk.
Yes, sir.
Mayor.
No, we're doing good in the league.
See, we have some department heads out there. Anybody got anything to add to, or?
Can't say that we do. I've been out of
You're
pocket
getting
for the
lower and
last
lower,
2
man.
You be trying to hide.
I've been busy the last 2. I felt like I needed to show up now.
We're at that time, Ms. Shirley.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you for coming.